Hi, I'm Manny Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Sagittarius for November 2015. I'm trying on a new format that includes having individual readings for each sign, as I always have, but also having an additional video with the general astrological transits that will affect everyone. For the past years that I've been doing these recordings, I've been mingling the general transits with the specific horoscopes for each sign within the videos for each sign. So I'm trying on doing it this way, but you want to make sure that you watch the November 2015 astrology overview that's on its own, separate from the individual signs, because I'm talking about all kinds of awesome things in November in that video that I'm not going to really address in the individual videos. So check them both out, and also watch the one for your rising sign besides just your sun sign. So that's 3 videos for you to watch. Okay, so go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, where you can see more about my growing list of self-development tools, which are very wonderfully priced between $16 and $26, so that everyone has access to them. You can also look at information about my personal coaching programs and working with my apprentices, my growing list of apprentices, and sign up for my free email newsletter and become part of my community. Okay, so let's get into the astrology of November. Some general quick overviews is that we've got the whole month free of personal planet retrogrades for the first time in forever. We are now past the most dramatic parts of the eclipse energy. And so we basically got green lights for the first 3 weeks of November for everything and anything imaginable. And then it gets a little dicey at the end of November. But I go into the details of that in the general astrology reading. So for Sagittarius, we have some very exciting things coming up. First thing is birthdays. Some of you are going to have your birthdays this month, you early Sagittarius. If you have been listening to my horoscopes for a while, then you have heard me talk about birthday wishes and the fact that birthday wishes are astrological. So the universe is exceptionally receptive to your desires at the time of your birthday. The sun represents what you want, what you desire, what makes your heart glow. And on your birthday, when the sun in the sky gets to the same point in your chart where it was when you were born, there's a magical portal for your desires opened. So don't underestimate the power of the birthday wish. You get 10 of them. According to brilliant astrologer Jan Spiller, she talks about having 10 new moon wishes, and you have your 10 birthday wishes too. So you've got that going on. The rest of you are going to have that coming soon in December, so you can start to prepare for that. Now, something that happens every year, the 4 weeks before your actual birthday, which you can calculate based on knowing when your birthday is that the sun, before it moves over that point on your on the ascendant of your chart, into the first house on your birthday, that makes this rebirth and everything new and kind of a new chapter and starting over. The 4 weeks before it gets to that point, it's highlighting, focusing on your 12th house, which is your deep unconscious. So some people get very internal, some people get very retrospective, some people feel a little bit funky, some people have things come up. I know that I had noticed in the late fall every year, before I realized that the sun was in my solar 12th house when this was happening, I would notice that there was always something either really quiet and internal about that 4 weeks before my birthday, or there was some kind of drama or something major life change related happening. There was just like a major time for me. And now I understand why. The sun activates this place in your deep unconscious, and it's by design. Because if you're going to have this awesome opening to do your birthday wishes, then the universe lines up before you figure out what your birthday wishes are, what you really want. It shows you some things you don't want. It gets you more in touch with the things that you want. It brings up unresolved issues. It brings up some problems. It brings up opportunities, so that you are in an awesome position by the time your birthday comes to really pare down and figure out what you want to focus on. So if you find yourself feeling a little funky or feeling a little blue or feeling a little internal in the 4 weeks before your birthday, then that's why. Now, this particular year, some of you are going to have this period of time coinciding with this magical time. Like I mentioned, the first 3 weeks of November are just like all green lights. Just go and forward movement and all of that. So we'll see how that manifests for you, if it's this intermittent, internal energy with all of this flowing energy. They're happening at the same time, so we don't know how it will manifest for you personally, but it's all available. So When the sun moves into your solar first house, which happens on your birthday, you have this rebirth energy. And you're going to start to have more of the planets moving into your first house in the times to come. But in this month, there's strong focus for you early and some middle degree placements on the 10th, 11th, and 12th houses. For you, some of you middle degree and the rest of you later degree placements, there's strong focus on the 9th, 10th, and 11th houses. These are, it's this point in the top of the top left of the chart. So what does that look like? So we talked about what the sun looks like in the 12th house. For those of you with your birthdays into December, you're going to have the sun be present in your 11th house. The sun is bringing this vibrance, this energy. It happens to be when it's in your deep unconscious that sometimes it doesn't feel as vibrant, but when it's in your 11th house, that can bring social events and friends and group related things and humanitarian efforts. So things involving the internet, social media, just kind of active Aquarius friend, acquaintance related energy. Lots of vibrance there. For you late degree placements, the sun will still for a little while longer be activating your career, work, and life purpose sector. But for all of you, there's tremendous energy in your 10th house, whether it's through Sun or Mercury or Venus, Mars, or the Venus-Mars conjunction that happens on November 2nd. There's all of this energy to be had, and it doesn't even really matter which of the planets is highlighting that section, except just to know that the idea, the energy, the field of experience of work, career, and life purpose is very much activated at this time. So let's see, Mercury is also going to be affecting your 11th house. 11th house for some of you, 12th house for some of you it will even start to dip into your first house. Mercury, wherever it goes, it brings information, it brings sharing of information, taking in of information. It's very busy. It also rules mobility. So again, this is another boost for many of you in your house of friendships, in your house of active gatherings, whether they're virtual gatherings or whether they're in person. A lot of energy there. Then once Mercury moves into the 12th house, there's that busyness on your inner planes. The 11th house is more of the outer planes. The 12th house is the inner planes. So you'll see some of both of this, depending on where your exact placement is. We'll tell you exactly when it's going to happen, but we know in this period of time, you've got this activity in the outer realms, and you've got all this activity that enriches your inner world. So really strong messages from guides for people who are into channeling, people who are into hypnosis and past life regression and the conscious evolution of humanity. This is a seriously strong time for you. Anytime you have your 12th house accentuated is a time to really connect in with that emotional part of yourself, that intuitive part of yourself. And it's going to be really strong in this period of time. So then we've got this magical Venus and Mars conjunction on November 2nd, and you early degree and some of you middle degree placements will experience this in the 10th house. The rest of you middle degree and late degree placements will experience this in the 9th house. Venus and Mars, the star-crossed lovers that want to be together, they're going to be together in the stars and in your chart. And so this combination of action of Mars and receptivity of Venus and blessings and harmony of Venus, for many of you, it's going to highlight your work sector. So some really good work news, some really good news propelling you along your areas of whatever your life purpose is, or possibly feeling closer to figuring that out. If it happens in your 9th house, this accentuates international business. This accentuates anything involving publishing, teaching, learning, education in general, different cultures, different languages, speaking, any version of writing or communicating is all there. So we've got the energy of Venus there for some of you, the energy of Mars there for some of you, and this is really strong. So anything Sagittarian related is going to be highlighted because the 9th house is the house of Sagittarius. So all things Sag, all things you, are being accentuated with the travels of Venus and Mars. And Venus, I always describe as it's like my grandmother Marge, my little Italian grandmother, who was always smaller than me, even as a child, so she'd have to reach her hands up to my face and grab my face and kiss me on the face when she would see me, kiss me on the mouth, and slip me $5, right? So this is like Venus, it slips you some money. It brings affection. It brings, she would shove meatballs in my mouth. It brings sustenance, it's like, it's the energy of my grandma Marge. And if you add in there that she gives me a pretty dress, then that's the aesthetics that Venus can bring. So you're going to be experiencing this either in the 9th house or the 10th house or both. And the 9th house is this house of the career and the teaching and the traveling and the long distance opportunities, whether they're virtual or moving your body there. Anything that has to do with education or learning programs, whether you're the teacher or you're the learner, is all accentuated in the 9th house, very strong in this period of time. And wherever Mars is, that's like this, the border collies. That's how I describe Mars, is like my border collies. They're hyper vigilant. They're always in motion. They're very active. So wherever Mars is in your chart, you find yourself naturally just being like gung-ho on these things. So the 9th house also relates to spirituality, one of the houses of spirituality, and religion. It's like, that's the house of religion. So religious efforts, religious projects, the bigger picture, anything that you would imagine. And this is the energy of Sag anyway, so I know that you get this. It's like Sag energy, I'm a Sag too. It's like we're on this cloud and we're looking down. That's how I always feel. I feel like I'm on this fluffy cloud and I'm looking down at everything, not in a condescending way, although a lower vibration of Sagittarius could manifest in condescension. So you have to look out in your spiritual evolution for places that shows up so you can dissolve it within yourself. But just the energy of seeing the bigger picture. When you look at the earth from the perspective of being out away from the earth, it's very peaceful. You can see things that you don't see when you're in the middle of all of it. And that's the energy of Sagittarius. And that's the energy that's strongly highlighted this time. So when Mars moves into that place, it's like really active, it's bringing more vibrance. You only have Mars in a house once every 2-ish years. So it's like, if you track the movement of Mars, you'll see, well, gosh, I was kind of really active about this a couple of years ago. Now it's coming back. This cycle is coming back. So your early degree placements will already have Mars moving into your 11th house. It won't be in your 9th house anymore. But that's just your very early placements. The rest of your early placements and your middle placements will mostly have this in the 10th house. So feeling like really gung-ho about work and career and life purpose and things involving dad and things involving bosses and authority figures and advancement and recognition. So both in your individual charts and in the general astrology charts, there's this really strong energy for green lights and the recognition and things flowing beautifully. That's for most of the month of November. The new moon is happening for your early degree placements. This is on November 11th. It's happening at 19 degrees of Scorpio. For you early and some middle degree placements, this is happening in the 12th house. So a new chapter, a new opening, ripe seed planting time is happening in this house of your deep emotional space. Sages are really good at talking about emotions, but unless you have other things in your chart, just the energy of Sag itself can talk about emotions more than they're really good at feeling them, because they're so optimistic that sometimes they don't even know what they're feeling. You don't even know the truth of how you're feeling because you're so busy having these rose-colored glasses on that you're completely out of touch with your feelings sometimes until something comes up and it's like, oh gosh, you have to deal with that now, So when you have this energy in your 12th house, it's like opening another layer into yourself and your emotions and your feelings, which can be scary, but can also be very productive. So the rest of you will have this, so the rest of you middle and all you late degree placements will have this new moon, this opening, this new level of energetic opportunity in your 11th house. Internet related things with groups, teams, social media, humanitarian efforts. The 11th house, which is very strongly focused for all of you in one form or another here with these personal planets, is the house of your big dreams, the ones not that you have at night, but the ones that you have in your heart that sometimes you don't share with anybody because maybe you might even be embarrassed if you say it out loud. I have it happen a lot where people will tell me in session where I'll see something in their chart and say, I see this energy for you, and they say, oh my God, I had that in my heart and I never speak it because it feels like it's not possible, but there it is, it's this potential in your being. And those are the things that it's really good to awaken to the possibility of actually manifesting. And whether you actually manifest it or not isn't even as much the point as it is to just go for it. And the journey that you take when moving towards that big dream, wherever you wind up ending up on that journey, you still would go further than you would have if you didn't go for it. So that's very strong energy that's happening also. And then the full moon, this energy of fullness, whole completion, endings, sometimes something coming to fruition that you've been waiting for. Full moons don't only carry negative emotional energy, it can carry positive things. I've watched many a full moon where I saw something manifest that I've been waiting for, that I've been working for, and like really got to enjoy that at the full moon. Wow, this is happening right now. That's really cool. So the fullness, the completion, the fruition for your very early degree placements could happen in the 7th or 6th house. So it could be relationship-based, marriage, business, client, relationship-based, a close personal relationship, new chapter, or not a new chapter, an ending or closing there. And sometimes it's actually a relationship that ends, but often it's a chapter within the relationship that ends, you know, that you're moving on to something else and there's an ending there, but it doesn't necessarily mean the ending of the relationship. Most of you early and all of you middle degree placements will experience this new opening in your 6th house of health and animals, pets, your daily routine, your nutrition, your diet, anything medical related, your workplace affairs, you know, whatever your world looks like every day. When you say, what do I do most of the time during the day? Wherever that place is, that's where your 6th house mostly rules. So some ending, some completion there, maybe someone leaving work, maybe you ending a position, maybe your boss leaving, maybe, you know, you moving to a different office, maybe any of these things, your daily experience somehow changing, what you do every day, shifting somehow. So make sure you also listen to the video called November 2015 Astrology that I have on my sites, because there's so many things that I go into details about that I don't have time to do here now with this new drill down focus that I'm doing. And definitely go to my website, aspiritualspark.com. You can look into personal coaching, my personal coaching program, or want some work with my growing list of apprentices. So that's very exciting. And definitely check out my growing list of self-development tools that are between $16 and $26, really affordably priced. I've made sure to make these programs really accessible. The virtual programs really accessible so that anyone who is a willing soul who is on this path of conscious evolution that wants to make headway and the roads into themselves can do so. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I will see you next month. Bye.